Hi friends, how are you? In the vast ocean, a young educated teacher and an old, illiterate sailor traveled together on a ship. Every evening, the sailor would visit the teacher. Listening to him speak about various subjects, the teacher would constantly ask if he knew biology, psychology, physics, chemistry, or mathematics. When the sailor replied he knew none of these, the teacher would say, "You are wasting your life. You should learn all these things." One night, the ship struck a large rock and began to sink slowly. The sailor approached the teacher with a simple question, "Can you swim?" The teacher was confused, and when asked again, replied no. That night, the teacher drowned while the old sailor survived. The lesson: we don't need to know everything, but what we know must be useful to us. As Buddha said, you can hold on to thousands of books, but if you don't practice what they teach, all your learning is worthless. This is like focusing on others' growth while ignoring our own development, watching others' happiness while trapped in our own suffering. 500 years ago, a village elder wanted to find the most ethical person to marry his daughter. His advisors suggested he find someone skilled in deception instead. Believing honesty was outdated, the elder decided to test the young men. He gathered all unmarried youth and announced, "Whoever brings me gold or wealth from their homes, taken so secretly that no one in the world knows about it, will marry my daughter." Most young men left to steal, but one remained standing. When asked why he didn't leave, the young men replied, "No one can win this competition. Taking wealth without anyone knowing is impossible." As to others returned claiming they'd stolen secretly without anyone knowing. The young man countered, "You said no one in the world should know, but even if no one else knows, you know. The world may not see it, but you can see it. You may have done wrong without others knowing, but you know it yourself." Impressed by this wisdom, the elder gave his daughter to this ethical young man. Buddha's path to nirvana through morality. Right speech to avoid lies, gossip, harsh words, and divisive talk. Think gently, kindly, and truthfully. Right action, avoid harming living beings, stealing, and sexual misconduct. Practice nonviolence, compassion, and kindness. Right livelihood, avoid occupations that directly or indirectly harm others, such as selling alcohol, drugs, weapons, or supporting gambling. The lesson: true morality means not harming others even when no one is watching, because we always know our own actions. This ethical foundation is essential for achieving lasting peace and happiness. 4 animals lived in a forest: an elephant named Consciousness, a fox named Perception, a monkey named Sensation, and a tiger named Reaction. They lived together under one tree and wandered as companions. One day, they spotted a mango tree at the forest's edge with juicy fruits. The elephant Consciousness simply observed, saying something is visible there. The fox Perception identified it as a delicious mango fruit, his favorite. The monkey Sensation became excited, exclaiming how his mouth watered wanting to eat it. The tiger Reaction immediately leaped forward, wanting to devour the fruits right away. However, the tiger didn't know that hunters waited on the other side of the tree. They killed him and took him away. And all named Wisdom watched from a distance. When the remaining 3 animals asked what went wrong, they all explained. The elephant observed well. The fox identified correctly. The monkey felt appropriately. But the tiger jumped without thinking. What you all needed was wisdom. If wisdom had been present, the tiger wouldn't have fallen into such danger. The lesson: our minds work through multiple processes: consciousness observing, perception recognizing, sensation feeling, and reaction responding. Buddha taught that between these processes lies a gap where we must apply wisdom. We can observe without judgment, perceive with understanding, feel sensations appropriately. But between feeling and reacting, we must pause and think wisely for positive outcomes. Buddha believed that the main cause of all our suffering is attachment. The more attachment we have, the more terribly we suffer. A powerful story illustrates this teaching. In Buddha's monastery, when a monk died, they would typically cremate both the body and the monk's robes together. However, when one particular monk died, Buddha instructed, "Don't cremate him immediately. Leave him as he is. After a week, Buddha finally allowed the funeral to proceed. When asked about the delay, Buddha explained, "This monk was very attached to his robe. Even at death, he looked lovingly at his garment," meaning he hadn't achieved complete enlightenment nirvana. After death, he was reborn as a small fly, clinging to that robe for 24 hours. Only after the fly died did his attachment to the robe fade, so I waited. The lesson: Buddhism doesn't oppose possessions, relationships, or interests, it warns against clinging to them. We live in an impermanent state, constantly changing from birth to death, since everything we have will eventually be lost. Understanding this truth beforehand significantly reduces our suffering. Two Buddhist monks, Dharma and Ananda, lived in a mountain monastery. Ananda spent his time reading many books, while Dharma focused more on meditation. One day, traveling to another monastery, they encountered a large stream where a young woman stood unable to cross. Dharma saw her difficulty, lifted her, carried her across the stream, set her down on the other side, and continued walking. Ananda was shocked. After walking some distance, he angrily confronted Dharma. "Our monastery has a rule against touching women. Why did you touch her?" Dharma replied, "I left that woman there at the riverbank. You are still carrying her in your mind." Ananda fell silent, realizing that the wisdom gained through experience had given him truer enlightenment than all his book knowledge. 3 types of wisdom: received wisdom, knowledge gained from others' teachings and advice; intellectual wisdom, learning from books and scriptures; experiential wisdom, understanding gained through direct experience, the lesson. While the first 2 types of wisdom can vary depending on teachers and books, experiential wisdom is superior to both. Dharma understood from experience that helping those in distress is true divine work. This represents Vipassana meditation, insight meditation, where one masters non-judgmental observation, seeing things as they truly are. Summary: 5 transformative Buddhist teachings. These stories reveal essential Buddhist principles for reducing suffering and finding inner peace. Practical wisdom: focus on knowledge that serves your actual needs rather than comparing yourself to others or seeking validation through external accomplishments. Mindful response: understand the mental process of consciousness, perception, sensation, and reaction. Insert wisdom into the gap between feeling and reacting for better outcomes. Non-attachment: to recognize that clinging to ego, possessions, or beliefs causes suffering. Accept impermanence to find peace with life's natural changes. Ethical living: practice morality not because others are watching, but because ethical conduct creates the foundation for genuine happiness and spiritual progress. Experiential understanding: while learning from others and books is valuable, direct experience provides the deepest wisdom for navigating life's challenges. These teachings remind us that true transformation begins within ourselves, when we change internally through wisdom, mindfulness, non-attachment, ethical conduct, and experiential learning. The world around us transforms as well.